What if I told you some of the plants you've been throwing away were actually the easiest ones to grow? From my experience, a lot of gardeners don't struggle because they lack tools. They struggle because they misunderstand what a plant really is. A leaf doesn't look like much. It feels temporary, replaceable, even disposable. But in many plants, that single leaf holds something remarkable. Not just energy, but instructions, a quiet blueprint for building an entirely new life. Now, I want to be honest here. Not every leaf becomes a plant, and not every success you see is what it seems. Some leaves grow roots, but never grow again. Some sit for weeks or months before anything happens at all. So in this video, we're going to slow down a little. Not just list plants, but actually understand what's happening and why. We'll start with the easiest ones, the ones that almost always work, then move into the slower, more patient growers, and finally, the ones that quietly teach you the difference between rooting and real propagation. Because once you understand that difference, everything in your garden starts to make a lot more sense. So, how can a single leaf turn into a whole new plant? It sounds unusual at first, but in many plants, this ability is built in from the very beginning. Inside that leaf, there are cells that are far more flexible than they appear. Cells that under the right conditions can reorganize and start over. From my experience, this is where most of the confusion begins, because we tend to think of plant parts as fixed. Roots grow roots, stems grow stems, leaves just sit there. But in reality, some plants don't follow those boundaries so strictly. Certain cells inside the leaf can return to a more basic state, and from there begin forming roots and sometimes even new shoots. This is often described as the plant's ability to rebuild itself. Not quickly, not perfectly, but slowly, and only when the conditions allow it. That's why a healthy leaf matters so much, not just because it looks good, but because it carries the stored energy needed for this entire process. In many cases, the leaf is doing two jobs at once. It's feeding itself and quietly supporting the growth of something new. But here's where it gets important. Not every plant has this ability in the same way, and not every leaf has everything it needs to complete the process. Some leaves can form both roots and new plants. Others can only form roots and stop there. And that difference is what separates success from frustration for most gardeners. This is where many people start to feel confused, because something appears to be working, but actually isn't. You place a leaf in water, and after a few weeks, you see roots. And naturally, that feels like success. But from my experience, this is only the beginning of the story, because roots alone don't make a plant. A leaf can stay alive for quite a long time once it has roots. It can absorb water, it can look healthy, and yet it may never grow beyond that stage. This is what many growers call a false success. Everything looks right, but nothing actually moves forward. And the reason comes down to something very small, but very important. Growth doesn't just happen anywhere in a plant. It begins in specific points called nodes. These nodes contain the cells responsible for creating new shoots, new stems, new leaves. Without a node, a leaf may root, but it cannot become a full plant. And this is where frustration often begins. Because if you don't know this difference, you can spend weeks, even months, waiting for something that will never happen. But once you see it clearly, once you understand what to look for, you stop guessing and start propagating with intention. So if a leaf can become a plant, and sometimes it doesn't, what actually makes the difference? From my experience, most success in propagation doesn't come from doing more. It comes from getting a few simple conditions right. Not perfectly, just consistently enough. The first is light. Not strong direct sunlight, but bright indirect light. Too little light and the leaf doesn't have enough energy to grow. Too much and it dries out before anything can begin. The second is moisture. This is where most people go wrong. Leaves don't need wet soil. In fact, too much water is often what causes them to fail. What they need is a balance. Slight moisture with enough air around them to prevent rot. And the third is time. Not just a few days, sometimes weeks, sometimes months. And here's the part that's easy to underestimate. During that time, a lot can be happening, even when you see nothing at all. Roots forming, energy being used, structures slowly developing beneath the surface. So if you remember nothing else, remember this: good light, gentle moisture, and enough time. Get those three right, and most plants will meet you halfway. If you're just starting with leaf propagation, it helps to begin with plants that want to grow. Not plants that test your patience, but ones that respond clearly and fairly quickly. From my experience, confidence matters more than perfection at this stage. And the easiest way to build that confidence is to see something work. Plants like African violets and many types of sedum are a good place to begin, because they don't just survive from a leaf, they actively grow from it. With African violets, you'll often see small plantlets forming at the base of the leaf, sometimes more than one. It's one of the clearest signs that propagation is actually working. Sedum behaves differently, but just as reliably. Leaves fall, they rest on soil, and before long they begin to root and grow with very little effort. These are the plants that remove doubt. They show you what success looks like, so you can recognize it later in more difficult plants. And once you've seen that process happen, even just once, you stop wondering if it works and start learning how it works. If you've ever wondered why succulents are so easy to propagate, this is where the answer begins. It's not just that they're tough plants, it's that they carry their own resources. From my experience, succulent leaves behave very differently from most other plants. They're thicker, heavier, and full of stored water and nutrients. That storage changes everything. Because when you place a succulent leaf on soil, it doesn't immediately depend on the environment. It already has what it needs to survive and to begin growing. That's why plants like jade or echeveria can sit on dry soil for days, even weeks, and still go on to form roots and new growth. The leaf is slowly using its own reserves, feeding the process from within. You might notice something interesting during this time. The leaf stays firm even as a tiny new plant begins to form beside it. And only later, once the new plant becomes independent, the original leaf starts to shrink and fade away. It's not failing, it's finishing its job. There's one small step in propagation that many people skip. And it's often the reason things fail before they even begin. It's called callousing. After you remove a leaf, the cut end is still fresh, still exposed. And from my experience, that's exactly when the plant is most vulnerable. If that fresh surface touches moisture too soon, it doesn't grow, it rots. Especially with succulents, where the leaves are full of water already. Adding more moisture at the wrong moment can quietly stop the process before it starts. So instead, you let the leaf rest, out in the air, for a day, sometimes two. During that time, the plant does something subtle but important. It seals the wound. The surface dries, forms a thin protective layer, and prepares itself for growth. Only after that should it touch the soil. It's a small step, easy to overlook, but once you understand it, you'll start noticing how often it makes the difference. Some plants don't respond quickly. Not because something is wrong, but because that's simply how they grow. From my experience, this is where many people give up too early. You place a leaf in soil, days pass, then weeks, and nothing seems to happen. Plants like ZZ plant or Haworthia often work this way. They don't rush. With a ZZ plant, the process is happening below the surface first. Before you ever see a shoot, the plant is forming something underground. A small rhizome, a storage structure that will later support new growth. So while the leaf looks unchanged, it's actually building the foundation. Haworthia is similar, but even slower. Weeks can pass before roots appear, and months before a visible plant forms. And during that time, it's easy to assume nothing is working. But often, the growth is simply hidden, quiet, steady, and out of sight. These are the plants that teach patience. Not by forcing you to wait, but by showing you that waiting is part of the process. Most of the time, one leaf gives you one plant. But there are a few plants that don't follow that pattern. And when you see them work, it can feel almost unbelievable. Begonias are one of the best examples of this, especially Rex and Rhizomatous types, with those patterned, almost painted leaves. Instead of growing from just one point, they can grow from many. If you gently cut across the veins of a single leaf and place it flat against moist soil, each cut can become a new starting point. Not immediately, and not always perfectly, but over time, small plantlets begin to form, right where those cuts were made. So instead of one plant, you might see 5 or 6 or even more, all from a single leaf. It's one of the clearest reminders that plants don't always grow in straight lines. Sometimes they multiply. Sometimes a leaf fails for a very simple reason. Not because the plant is difficult, but because it's facing the wrong way. From my experience, this happens more often than people expect, especially with plants like snake plants. When you cut a leaf into sections, each piece looks almost identical. Top, bottom, it's easy to lose track. But for the plant, that direction matters. Roots only form from one end. The end that was originally closest to the soil must go back into the soil. If it's reversed, nothing happens. No roots, no growth, just time passing. And because everything looks correct, it can be difficult to notice the mistake. That's why a small habit can help. Before cutting, mark the top of the leaf. So when you place it later, you don't have to guess. It's a simple detail, but like many things in propagation, small details often make the biggest difference.
Not everyone enjoys waiting months to see progress. And the good news is, you don't always have to. Some plants respond much more quickly. Not because they're easier in every way, but because their growth cycle moves faster. Plants like kalanchoe or peperomia are good examples of this. When conditions are right, they begin forming roots within a few weeks. And shortly after, you may start to see new leaves. That visible progress can make a big difference, especially in the early stages of learning, because it gives you feedback. You're not just waiting, you're observing, adjusting, understanding what works. With peperomia, for example, you can even divide a single leaf and grow from both parts, which means more chances to learn from the same plant. But even with faster plants, the same rules still apply. Good light, balanced moisture, and patience, just on a shorter timeline.
Some of the most important parts of propagation don't happen where you can see them. They happen underneath. From my experience, this is one of the hardest ideas to trust. Because we naturally look for visible signs, leaves, stems, movement. But some plants begin in a very different way. Take something like string of hearts. A single leaf may sit in soil for weeks, looking exactly the same. No new growth, no visible change. But below the surface, it's building something first, a small structure called a tuber. It's like a storage point, holding water and energy, waiting for the right moment. Only after that forms does the plant begin to send out new growth. Vines, leaves, everything you were expecting to see. And until that moment, it can feel like nothing is happening at all. But often, that's exactly when the most important work is being done. Quietly, out of sight, and right on time. Sometimes, propagation doesn't even begin with intention. It begins by accident. A leaf falls, you brush against a plant, or move a pot slightly too quickly. And suddenly, there are leaves on the soil. From my experience, this is where many people miss an opportunity, because those fallen leaves are often already ready to grow. Plants like burro's tail, or many types of sedum, are designed this way. Their leaves detach easily, and when they land, they don't just sit there. They begin again. Roots form, tiny plants follow, all without any real effort from you. So instead of seeing fallen leaves as a problem, you can start to see them differently. Not as waste, but as possibility. As small beginnings already in motion. Sometimes, the plant is already doing the work for you. By now, you've probably noticed something. Some leaves grow into full plants, and some don't. And the difference isn't always visible at first. From my experience, this is where many people get misled. Because a leaf can look healthy, it can even grow roots, and still never become a plant. Plants like Pilea or Hoya make this especially clear. With these plants, A leaf on its own is not enough. What matters is something small attached to it, a node. That's where new growth begins. Not along the leaf, not randomly, but from that specific point. Without it, you may see roots, but no new leaves, no stem, no real plant. This is why some cuttings seem to pause, even though they're still alive. They're missing what they need to move forward. But once you learn to recognize a node, everything changes. You stop hoping and start choosing the right piece from the beginning. If you've stayed with me this far, you've already seen something most people miss. That a leaf isn't just a leaf. It's a beginning. Sometimes simple, sometimes slow, sometimes more complicated than it first appears. From my experience, propagation isn't about collecting more plants. It's about understanding them. Why some leaves grow and some don't. Why roots aren't always enough, and why small details matter. Once you see those patterns, you stop guessing. You stop overwatering, overchecking, overthinking, and you begin to notice something else. Plants are already trying to grow. They're already offering you opportunities in every fallen leaf, every cutting, every quiet moment on your windowsill. All you're really doing is learning how to work with that. Not forcing it, not rushing it, just understanding it. If this way of learning feels right to you, you're always welcome here. We take our time, we observe, and we grow together.